In this video, we're going to take a look at some simple date functions in Excel. One of the simplest ones is a function called today. Now, since functions always have to appear in formulas, you have to remember to start with an equal sign, and the name of the function is today. And you see when you start typing it, a list of the functions that Excel knows about comes up, and the today function comes up here. And so you type it in, and you just hit the enter key. If you do that, Excel doesn't know what you're talking about, and the reason is simple. Today is a function. Most functions have a list of arguments that go in parentheses, and so the syntax rules for functions require that the name of the function be followed by a pair of parentheses so that you can put the arguments inside the parentheses. It turns out that the today function doesn't need any arguments to be passed to it. All it does is it goes out and looks at the system clock on your computer and checks what day it is, and that's what it returns. If the system clock on your computer has the wrong date on it, you're going to get the wrong date. So all it's doing is going out to the clock and bringing up the value and displaying it for you here. If I come in tomorrow and open up this spreadsheet, because this is a function and not a constant date that I typed in, it will come up with tomorrow's date. So if you want to have the current date always displayed in a spreadsheet, use the today function. Another common function is the now function. And again, that has no arguments, but the parentheses are required. And what that does is it gives you the date and the time. So that's the difference between today and now. Now let's look at some other functions. Sometimes you may have a date. I'm going to get rid of this one for right now. You may have a date and you want to figure out which month that is, or which day of the month, or you may want the year. You may want to pull out the individual components of that date so that you can do some work with them. And there are three functions that make that real easy to do. The month function returns the month, a number from January to December, and it requires for an argument, as you see here, it requires a serial number. Okay, serial numbers, it's another way of saying a date. So you have to point it at a date. I'm going to point it at this date right here and close the parentheses and hit enter. And now I've got a formatting problem here because this was formatted as a date and a time before. It's trying to take my answer and format as a date and a time. This happens a lot when you deal with dates. And all you have to do is go back here and change it to general, and it tells you that the month for this serial number right here is January. And if I want to find out the date for that cell right there, use the use the day function, and it'll tell you that the day is day number 19. And there's also a year function, and if I point it at A1 till I want to know what year that is, it'll give me the number 2012. So the month function, the day function, and the year function are all used to take a date and extract its components. You know, if you want to do some kind of date arithmetic, or you need to know which month an event happened, you can do that. There's one other date function that is similar to these, and that is the weekday function, and that requires that you pass in a serial number, and we're going to pass in that serial number, and it returns a number from 1 to 7. And if we had used the function arguments box here to do this instead of just typing it in, it would have told us what this number that gets returned means. It's a number from 1 to 7, identifying the day of the week of a date. And what it should also tell you here, but it doesn't, is that Sunday is day number 1 and Saturday is day number 7. So the fact that it returns the number 5 here tells us that today is a Thursday.